Lower Manhattan. They still have not taken an expected lunch break as they continue to question jurors, going through the voir dire process with these potential jurors. Joyce Vance is back with us now. While also joining us is New York Times chief White House correspondent Peter Baker, also co-author of The Divider, Trump in the White House. So, Joyce, what's the latest from the courtroom?
Well, the process is back underway. Jurors are in the box and they're being questioned, reading from their questionnaires. So this is the process that we would expect to see taking place. I think the fact that the judge is delaying the much-treasured lunch break in this courthouse means he's serious about getting this process back on track.
And, Peter, the New York Times today has a story detailing the type of juror that the Trump team wants, including, just to quote from the New York Times today, younger black men and white working class men, particularly public employees like police officers, firefighters, sanitation workers, those who have had bad experiences with the legal system. Knowing what we know about the 5 selected so far, they don't fit these demographics.
No, they don't. I mean, a couple of attorneys, I think, surprised a lot of people. It's, what does that mean for them? Does that mean they're going to be more strict in their application of the law, or maybe might they be sympathetic to arguments of a technical nature that Trump's team may raise? We don't know, of course. But you're right. They're looking for a demographic that fits their definition of a Trump voter. Right? The people that they think that they can appeal to in New York City and Manhattan specifically, who might have sympathy or interest in Donald Trump going back years. Remember what a large presence he has had in that city for a generation or more, right? He has been a universally known figure long before he was president in Manhattan. New Yorkers have opinions about him. Many of them do. Trump has always felt like he had a connection to people like the ones that were described in that article. We'll see if that's the case.
And, Peter, let's go back to the campaign, which he's complaining, understandably, that he's not able to be on, although he gets some, or at least in the past has had some political benefit by being in the courtroom. We don't know yet whether it's the case now that he's on trial. But he's going, his first big event will be Saturday in North Carolina, since the trial began. That is such an important state to them.
A very important state to them. Is one of the states that he won still in 2020, but the Democrats feel like is within range of possibly taking this fall if they get a good year. It's important, too, because it's going to be the first time he has had sort of an unvarnished effort, opportunity in front of a large crowd to give his take on this trial, to give his take on the judge if he chooses to say something, or on the process that's going around. And we already have this hearing now scheduled for next week about whether he's violated the gag order. Saturday may be the first test of how far he's willing to push that. Clearly, he does seem to want to provoke the judge, and I think that's it'll be interesting to see how much he can, how far he can push it without getting in trouble.
And that hearing, Joyce, we talked a little bit about this before, but this will test whether or not he wants to live up to what he said he wants to do, which is to get on the stand, which is dicey for any defendant, but to say that he was going to do it, well, now what we've heard from the prosecutors is that they plan to bring up what happened in these previous cases and the cases where he has lost significant judgments, so that he could be cross-examined on that. The judge has to make that decision, presumably sometime after this Tuesday hearing.
There will be a Sandoval hearing tomorrow. There will be a hearing on gag order violations next Wednesday. It feels like Trump is trying to show the judge who's boss. And at the end of the day, it's the judge, the person in the black robe in the front of the courtroom, who controls decision-making. It's a novel and unique position for the former president to be in. But I think between these two hearings, he's about to find out who runs this courtroom.
In this final minute, Peter, you've covered Donald Trump for so long. He does not, no one likes it, but he in particular, the way he comported himself as president, he doesn't like to be in a situation where he has no control.
No, he doesn't. And he doesn't like to be challenged in the same way. He certainly doesn't like to have somebody else in charge. As Joyce just said, it's not his courtroom. It is, in fact, the judge's courtroom. And he has made very clear, this judge, that he doesn't plan to tolerate disruptions. We'll see how far the judge is willing to go in order to enforce that. But you're right. Donald Trump is sitting there, and he's not happy about any kind of restrictions on his ability to communicate, on his ability to dominate the room. And I think that's an unusual position for him to be in.
Joyce Vance and Peter Baker, thank you both so much. And Peter's book, again, is The Divider, Trump in the White House. That does it for this edition of Andrea Mitchell Reports. Remember, follow the show on social media at Mitchell Reports. And you can rewatch highlights from the show anytime on YouTube. Just go to msnbc.com/Andrea. Chris Jansen Report starts right now.